Welcome to the Life and Times podcast. Sit back, enjoy the conversation, enjoy the vibes, and thank you for checking us out. All right, Alabama's first game is Middle Tennessee State this weekend, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, or 6:30 time Alabama time, which I'm assuming is the important time.
I'm on Eastern.
Give me Jalen's stat line.
25 for 40.
Okay.
We're gonna say 287 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Hell yeah. What about on the ground?
Whew, I don't think he uses his legs. I think we know what he can do on the ground. Nick knows, the offense knows. I mean, I think we're fine on the ground. I think this is going to be the showcase where Jalen says, "Hey, let me show you I can throw."
Okay. What's final score?
Blowout to nothing.
That's fair. I think Vegas have y'all like 39.5. So
I'd take the over on that.
It should be a Yeah. I feel that.
A lot of the times, Nick likes to pull the rug back a little bit when we're up, but I think after 2 years of Georgia domination, he's
more focused on some things.
Yeah,
no doubt. All right, cool. Listeners, welcome to another episode of the Life and Times podcast. I'm Adrian. You already know it's no BS coming from me. And for this would be, it's episode 17. You're episode 17. I am joined by one of my good wrestling friends / friends outside of wrestling. We've grown to the homie Eric, who's a 2-time Suplex Dinner Club guest.
Two-time.
Like Georgia's 2-time national champ.
All right. On that note,
you walked in on it. So
I did. Ain't even mad at it.
It's all good. Eric, let the people know, man. Where can they find you online?
Twitter at EJ423X. Honestly, though, it's just become like a stan account for Taylor Swift. So, you might not have fun over there. I do talk sports a lot, lyrics, whatever's going on in my life, complain about work, because none of my bosses know what Twitter is, or X, I guess. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
I have Facebook, but I barely use it.
True. It has become a cesspool of old people. I have quickly learned. No offense, older people. We always start the podcast off with something that all of us in the industry are really good at, and that's drinking. More often than not, alcohol. So, what are you drinking today?
Well, I'm straight edge, so in honor,
first straight edge guess, nice.
In honor of one of my straight edge friends, we are drinking Pepsi.
That's a hint for today's topic.
Yes, sir. What about you? What are you drinking?
Man, I'm not drinking alcohol, man. I am actually drinking a cappuccino.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Just picked it up and got it in one of my favorite mugs. So
know all about that.
Yeah, we're gonna not have that alcohol today, but we're gonna still have fun, and I'm gonna still toast to you, man. I'm gonna let you know you're a good guy. You're a great guy. You're one of my good friends. I always say it's very rare to find a sensible wrestling fan. But I do also think that if you're sensible, you kind of attract sensible wrestling fans,
I agree.
and you kind of exclude yourself from silly toxicity. So you're one of my sensible wrestling fans, and I appreciate the friendship. I appreciate us being Georgia and Alabama diehards, but not the jerk diehards. So salute to you, man. Cheers to you, and cheers to your team.
Yep.
I hope y'all have a good, healthy, productive season. So,
We'll see you in December.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And salute to the listeners. Thank you again for checking us out. All right. So, next, we like to set the table, Eric. I have a few questions for you so the listeners can have a good idea of who you are, what makes you tick. So, first question, growing up, what was your first perception of hospitality workers?
Um, it's a very good question. I thought about that one a lot. Growing up, I lived with my grandfather who was older.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't I don't know why it seems to be this way, but the perception for hospitality workers for older people always seems like it's beneath them or whatnot, like, but I never felt that way really.
Mm.
Um I always appreciated what, a fast food worker would do because I mean if it wasn't for the fast food worker, I wouldn't be getting my happy meal. Um
Amen.
and I liked those toys, I liked those french fries, I liked those chicken nuggets. So I mean, I appreciated them and then it grew into more. I think I'm nicer to most people at restaurants than I am to most people at my job. So, I mean, I've always lived by the saying, "Don't mess with the people that mess with your food."
Mess with your food. Yeah, that's a simple and true adage. So yeah, I feel
Especially
that.
since I used to be one of them that would mess with your food.
Oh no.
Nah, I would just decaf you. That's all.
Word. Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. Next question. Next question for you. What was your first job in hospitality?
Um, I worked at a grocery store actually. I
Okay.
worked at this local grocery store called Cash and Carry. It was like a warehouse. We would sell bulk items, single items, all that kind of stuff. So basically, my job was to stock shelves and help the guests. And then eventually, I got not promoted per se, but I ended up becoming like the boss's right hand man.
Nice.
Because I knew a lot with technology and stuff, and he didn't. So I would help make ads and all that kind of stuff. And then I went to Starbucks because I was tired of not getting paid what I thought I deserved.
Nice. 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 Okay. How long have you been working with coffee?
I worked at Starbucks from 2016 to 2020, so about 4 years, give or take. Um,
So you've seen some things.
Pandemic Starbucks changed my entire perception on coffee in general, and that's why I deuced out. Not coffee in general, but
Mm.
just like the the fast food industry. People got nasty during COVID,
Mm-hmm. I
um,
believe it.
and I had to go. I was every day. I felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders. Because
Mm-hmm.
I started out just as a regular barista, making coffee, doing all that. Moved up to a shift supervisor, moved up to assistant store manager, and once I got the assistant store manager, I just felt like the world was crashing. Um, I mean, technically, it kind of was during COVID.
The world was definitely crashing. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly, and the nastier people got, the more I started to resent the job, and I had to get out. Um, and now I work at a doctor's office, which is weird.
Nice, nice. And final question. Final question. Do you feel that everyone should have at least one job in hospitality?
One
And more
thousand
importantly,
percent,
why? Cool.
yes. Because the way that these people treat the hospitality workers, whether like I've seen people at hotels just straight up are so rude to the clerks at the front or the housekeeping staff, like for no reason. People are just so mean to waiters and waitresses. Like, it's a busy night. Your table's not more important than any of the other tables. Yes, 100%. They should have to work a hospitality job to just know what, you know, the people in the industry have to go through.
I feel that. And going backtracking to what you were saying of like your experiences of working at Starbucks during the pandemic, like I only worked in the early stages of the pandemic because I was furloughed.
Mm.
So, but I also know for a fact of how weird people got, how aggressive people were, and how on edge everyone was. So I can honestly only imagine like something as sacred as a cup of coffee being the biggest deal ever for a lot of these people. So,
And like, I mean, not even just the customers, like the employees were just as nasty. Like, I mean, even sometimes, they would call out of work because they didn't feel good. And I mean, at that point in time, you can't do anything about it because what if they do have COVID? You can't expose your
right,
entire clientele plus your workforce to it. So
right.
it, what whether or not it was accurate or not, it kind of became an excuse to, oh, if I don't want to go to work today, I don't feel good. So then it
Mm,
would,
I never thought about that.
yeah, no, 100%. And then it would kind of put us behind, more stress on us. It just it
Mm,
got rough. It got rough on my mentals and
well,
everything.
I bet, man. I bet. Um, I I don't I'm not too familiar with the at least the business end of Starbucks, but I was reading on the union busting of the CEO. He's obviously 100% against unions.
Yep.
Where do you stand on that?
I'm I'm pro union, I guess.
Okay.
I always feel like the people making the rules and setting the wages and all of that, they're just sitting in an office. They don't have to deal with the day to day. They don't have to deal with the face to face. They tell you how to interact with the customers. But they themselves don't have to interact with anybody.
They're so far removed from that.
Exactly, and I don't think that that's just a Starbucks thing. I think that's just a corporation thing in general. Your
Definitely.
CEOs haven't had to be customer facing in years. They don't know exactly what is going on and what we have to deal with. Whereas, we know what we're having to put up with. We know the day to day grind. They don't. Like, there's so many expectations and rules that the corporations will push down upon, just the workers, that it just doesn't. A, there's not enough time in a shift to do it, and
Mm,
B, there's not enough workforce because you don't want to hire 8,000 people because it'll make your bottom line look bad, because
right.
you're paying all these people, you're losing money, quote unquote. So we want to hire the bare minimum, but we want the absolute maximum work done.
Yeah, that's such as capitalism.
Boy, I hate it.
All right. Well, before we get into our conversation, which I am definitely looking forward to, listeners, if this is your first time checking us out, I really appreciate you taking a moment to sit back and chill and hang out with us. Look us up on all socials at Suplex Dinner Club. That's home of two podcast projects that I'm working on. One is for college football, that's on Mondays, and Wednesdays we release the Life and Time. So thank you again. We I think I can go ahead and say we have a third podcast project on the way. So
Ooh.
be on the lookout for that. But again, thank you for supporting us. So all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and get into it, Eric. Like we said before, we're big wrestling fans.
You think?
Yes, right. in fact, right behind you, just so I can describe it to our audio guests, Eric has a wonderful wood panel wall with a lot of 8x10s and posters of some of our favorite wrestlers. So, Eric, which wrestlers do you have back there? What autographs and all that good stuff?
Just on the wall behind me, Rollins holding the US and the WWE title from SummerSlam, I think 15 when he beat Cena. Um,
Mm-hmm.
CM Punk, Miz, Deonna Purrazzo, Liv Morgan. I think I've got Toxic Attraction,
Nice.
Bailey and Becky, Edge and Christian, AJ Lee and Dolph. And then I have a semi controversial one. Some guy named Phil.
Good segue. Good segue. Mr. Phil Brooks. Though some people love him, some people hate him, but all of us can call him CM Punk. He is currently, I say currently, he is currently with All Elite Wrestling, which is a newer company. This is year 5 or 4. I want to say 5
Five,
or 4.
five sounds right.
5-ish, yeah. So it's been like 5 years since they've started. So I'm probably about to stop calling them new at this point. They came out as and presented as an alternative to WWE, which is the biggest wrestling company in the world. Mostly all of us, whether you're still a wrestling fan or grew up a wrestling fan, you know WWF and WWE. They pretty much ran a monopoly for damn near 20 years. Wouldn't you say, Eric?
Yeah, from at least 99 to 2019, pretty much.
Yeah, true. So, AEW, like we said, is the alternate. But there are several little issues, little things that culminate into reasons why some of us wrestling fans don't care for it. It's a large number of wrestling fans that love AEW, as evident of last weekend's All In event, where at Wembley Stadium they had over 80,000 people there. So that's a huge accomplishment. First and foremost, I want to say shout out to them for even being able to pull off something like that.
Yep.
Huge accomplishment for the sport, for the industry, and everybody involved. But we've talked good about them, but now it's time to get down to brass tacks. And that's what's going on currently with CM Punk and All Elite Wrestling. So, Eric, if you want to give a little background to the situation at hand, have at it.
Um, I don't know if I'm the most qualified for this because I'm a little biased. But um, yeah, no. Brawl out happened last year. Punk sat down with Khan at the media scrum and said he's old, he's tired, and he works with fucking children. And apparently that made the children mad, so they stormed into his locker room. And I mean, I don't know what you expect when you storm into somebody's locker room who just pretty much like blasted you on the national media. Like, obviously that means you're looking for a fight, and Punk gave it to him. Punk gave him a fight.
Hmm.
Um, the Bucks got what, suspended for 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Was it
What?
just a month?
What?
Hmm.
I feel like they were at the next pay per view. Wow, it's weird to actually call it a pay per view. Um, doing stuff against the Penta, Phoenix, and Pac,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I think you're right. Now that I'm looking back at it, yeah.
And then Punk had to go get surgery, so he was out for a good year, and we didn't really know what was happening. Was he still under contract? Was he getting paid the remainder of his contract to sit at home? Did he quit? Did he get fired?
Mm.
I know around Rumble time there was CM Punk to the Rumble, CM Punk to the Rumble.
Hmm.
But it was interesting, and then he just showed up and asked us to tell him when he was telling lies, and he still hasn't told any lies. Um, he cut a promo against Hangman where he said that his figure is just hanging on the shelves, and anytime you go into a Walmart or a Target, there's at least 6 or 7 Hangmans there. So I mean, he's not lying. Could he go about it a better way? Sure, but would that make Punk Punk? Absolutely not.
Mm.
He's AEW should have known exactly what they were getting when they signed Phillip Brooks to a contract. He is
Mm.
outspoken. He doesn't give a fuck about what other people think,
Right.
and that's just who he is. And we've seen it. It's caused problems for the EVPs. EVPs.
Quotation fingers.
Yeah, he is the biggest draw in the company,
He
and
is.
I don't understand why you alienate him, even if he is problematic. Like Hogan was problematic in WCW. They didn't send him to Saturday Night or Thunder. He was still front and center on Nitro.
This
Um,
is true.
Scott Hall problematic in WCW. They let
For a
him
multitude of reasons.
they let him sit home for a while, but when he came back, front and center on Nitro.
That's
They
true.
didn't they didn't send him to the B show. If they're trying to prove a point, giving Punk Collision on a Saturday night, right in the middle of football season, and on the night where we have PLEs for WWE and a multitude of things, they gave him a
Mm.
death slot, and
Mm.
I think it was to be like, oh well, you couldn't draw on Saturdays, so obviously you're not the draw that we think you are. I think it was
Mm.
I think it was a death sentence
Mm.
because it's him and all of his friends.
That's fair. That's fair. My issue when it comes to how they've handled CM Punk overall with AEW, like you said, CM Punk is a very opinionated person. Um, Also, he's a very confident person. Long story short, he rubbed some people off the wrong way.
What did you just say?
I'm confused too.
You said what?
It's simple as that. And you you should know that about him. And that's not me just absolving CM Punk for that, because at this point of his career, he's seen more than what he's gonna see as in action. He's only got but so many more years left of wrestling at the type of level that he expects of himself.
Mm-hmm.
So you would think at least on his end, maybe he would approach things with a little bit more humility, but also who know, at least everything that I heard and how things were presented, he did approach the situation with humility at first, and he was trying to be a positive influence at first, but things things kept presenting themselves to piss him off and aggravate him. So that's where he was like, all right, screw it, let's do it. And that's what sparked Brawl Out. That's what sparked the press conference where he basically called guys immature. He called them out. He called people out for trying to start trash with him. And that's including not just backstage, that's literally in the ring. Like when Hangman went off script and pretty much brought in something to a promo.
Yep.
Talking about Colt Cabana for God knows why. It's Colt Cabana. Come on. He brought that up, and CM Punk's like, "Whoa, what are we doing here?" And that's what really pissed him off. So, it's a culmination of things. I'm personally not a fan of, like you said, having your biggest star, your biggest draw, flat out. You can love him or hate him, but numbers is numbers. Having him away from your premiere show, like it completely cutting him off from that premiere show.
Yep.
And the biggest issue of all of it, and the reason why I wanted to even talk about this, is how much money is being potentially left from not having these two parties, the Elite being Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, separate from CM Punk. How much money is being left on the table?
A lot. Like, even if you think about like the drama in professional wrestling that we've seen before, I struggle to think of something as big as Edge to Matt Hardy. Matt called into the Livewire show and pretty much aired their public grievance, got fired, and then they came back and they worked a fantastic program together. Hated each other's guts, worked the program together, made money for Vince, pretty much put Edge over the top into being the rated R superstar.
Brett and Sean. They literally got into a fight backstage. Yeah. Everyone says that Brett ripped out like a patch of Sean's hair or something.
Yep.
So they actually got into a physical altercation backstage.
Mm-hmm.
Sean threatened to sue the company, sue Brett, never wrestle again. But somehow, somewhere, everyone involved figured out, hey, we can make money off of this. Let's put aside whatever BS. Let's be professionals and go make some money. And made money is what they did. So why can't these guys do this?
Because the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega want this to be Reseda, California. This is their playground, and they don't like it when people outdraw them. I could be completely off base, but you bring in a name. Think of the names in the last 2.5 to 3 years that they've brought in. Mm-hmm. Off of from whatever reason. Bryan Danielson, stuck in the mid card because they won't do anything with him. Adam Cole getting some shine. Aleister Black came in with massive fanfare. He's doing trios. CM Punk
stuck in trios.
The fact that they have not given Malachi Black a singles run is absolutely mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, it's asinine. Yeah.
Kid can go. Like, you were there in NOLA when he won the NXT title. One of my favorite matches that I've seen live. Andrade come in with big fanfare, straight to the mid card. Miro came in with big fanfare, straight to the mid card. Punk came in with massive fanfare. I mean, was he the first Rampage or was he the second Rampage? I think it was the second. Where
I want to say it was the second,
and it was what, 1.5 million viewers.
Yeah,
they can't even get 1 million anymore
on any of the
Dynamite.
shows.
Dynamite can't even get 1 million.
Yeah,
I think if you combine the shows, they're still behind Raw in the ratings.
Yes. At least for the past 2 months.
Yeah.
Because I'm petty enough to actually look at it and calculate it. So.
With that roster that they have, there is no reason they shouldn't be competing with WWE. No reason. But for whatever reason, egos or the fact that Tony Khan won't let anybody touch his program, but him won't get any help. Like, I don't understand why they're doing so poorly on live event shows. Like, you look at Dynamite and Rampage, and half the arena's empty.
Mm.
It it doesn't make sense. I don't get it. But I don't think that the Young Bucks want this company to succeed unless it's because of them.
I, I mean, I it's man, it's hard to argue against that. I mean, I can argue against that, saying like, well, the Young Bucks have also we got to give them at least some acknowledgement of like not being at the top of the tag team division for
Right.
past couple years, but also they were the initial like trios.
Mm.
Yeah, they were pretty much set up to be the trios champions.
But even like their tag matches are more advertised than the tag title matches, um, for the most part.
Mm, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I and that's why in my opinion, that's why Cody left.
You think so?
I Cody will never talk about it because there was an agreement, but I think Cody saw the writing on the wall that this wasn't going to be what he thought it was, and it wasn't going to be what was promised,
Yeah.
and he dipped.
Honestly, I think he left as soon as Tony took those booking privileges. I think
Fair,
I think
fair.
that was something. I think that was something that Cody was like, "Yeah, I'm not cool with that." Like you can tell that he was kind of pissy about that, or you would think that he's pissy about that, especially considering what Tony's been doing booking wise. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
was about to say the quality of the product went way down once Cody left.
mm,
Um,
as in booking,
yeah,
you think? Yeah,
because I enjoyed the first like year and a half to 2 years of AEW, um, and then the booking just started making no sense. The
that's fair.
storylines made no sense, and I don't want to say it's a direct correlation with Cody leaving, but
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue against that, man. It's hard to argue against that. All right, so when we're talking about CM Punk, man, one thing about CM Punk is we continue to say he's a very opinionated guy, and he's one of those characters or one of these wrestling figures that have created a clear divide with a lot of the wrestling community.
oh yeah,
And it's crazy how we go back and forth about one person, which is CM Punk. And I specifically remember when Punk first got to All Elite, you had a number of people who were like, screw CM Punk, da 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 da. And a lot of those people were traditional WWE fans
yep.
because they felt betrayed, which is crazy beyond me. And all the people that were propping up CM Punk and enjoying CM Punk and loving him were the AEW fans.
Yep.
And they were like, well, he's on our team now. But then Brawlout happens. And then on that section, they
Flipped.
splinter. Yeah,
Yep.
they like, yeah, exactly. Speak to how easy it is for fans to just flip and, switch places on something like that.
They flipped more than the Young Bucks, and no, I'm just kidding. Uh, no, it's tribalism. You and I have spoken a lot about tribalism in wrestling.
Yeah,
Hey, we have this guy. You don't. Ha 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 ha. We're better. Well, hey, we have this guy. Well, we're better. Ha 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 ha. Ha. It, if the rumors are to be believed, we'll see the same thing. If Adam Copeland Edge shows up in AEW. Um, the WWE fans will immediately hate him. The All Elite fans will immediately love him. Same thing happened with Christian. He showed up. The WWE fans were like, "Well, he was always Edge's Marty Jannetty anyway."
Right,
And then
right.
the AEW fans were like, "He was the better part of the tag team anyway."
I have been seeing more. I did see more and more of that, and I was like, "What? What are we talking about?"
Look, I love me some Christian Cage. I'm not even gonna lie, but
Right.
eh, there's no that might be one of the tag teams where there's no Jannetty. They're both fantastic workers.
Facts.
I have no Christian Cage slander. But no, it's just one of those things where if your guy's doing what you want him to do, we're Team Punk. He joined All Elite. He spurned WWE. He cut promos on WWE. He left professional wrestling in 2005 and rejoined it in 2021. Basically, oh, he pooped on WWE.
Right.
um, and then the script flipped when he called the entire roster children. So, well, he doesn't belong here anyway. He's not one of us. He's a WWE transplant. He doesn't belong here. And meanwhile, the WWE fans, when he showed up in AEW, he was never one of us. That's why he got fired.
Right.
And then he
He
cut the
wasn't
promo.
good enough.
Yeah, he couldn't cut it. And then he cuts the promo. Well, he was always a WWE guy anyway. Like, come on, people, y'all are so dumb,
Weird. Yes.
dumb.
Weird and dumb. Yes.
I
Yes.
love professional wrestling. I hate professional wrestling fans.
Amen. Amen.
Between arguing
It
over the dumbest
was.
things or not wearing deodorant, um,
Yeah. They're a rough bunch, man. They
there's a
are a
reason I
rough
just stopped
bunch.
arguing wrestling online.
Oh yes.
It's just not worth
Yes.
it.
Yes. Cherish your mental space.
Oh,
And
100%.
yeah, and as soon as you see something that's just like, come on, man. Either I'm still in a number of wrestling groups just because, for the sole reason of pointing and laughing.
Oh yeah, I know.
Is I'm not in, exactly, I'm not in groups to have a discourse with any of them
Nope.
because so many wrestling fans are just so far gone. I can barely talk wrestling with people on a podcast. I bet it's just because people are just so extreme on things.
It's one way or the other. Like, if it seems to me like there's been just a divide drawn right down the middle. Like, you love AEW and hate WWE. You love WWE and hate AEW. Meanwhile, like, the folks like me and you, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
wrestling's thriving right now. Like, if you would
Right,
have told 5, 6, 7 year old Eric that you got Raw on Mondays, NXT on Tuesdays, Dynamite on Wednesdays, Impact on Thursdays, SmackDown on Fridays, pay-per-views and live events on Saturdays and Sundays, like almost every day of the week has professional wrestling on television.
and that's just stateside.
Exactly. New Japan and,
Right,
the other, like Tokyo Joshi Pro and Stardom.
right.
Like, I mean, if you would have told me that, I would have flipped my script 15, 20 years ago.
That's a fact. Yeah, the most important thing for me when it comes to at least the wrestling business is the workers, the performers, the staff, the production, all of them, they have a viable option
Yeah,
to provide for their family. And like you said, the business is thriving. Like we said earlier in the podcast, All Elite had over 80,000 people at one of the most historic venues of all time, which is Wembley Stadium. That's a win for professional wrestling. That's a win for AEW, definitely. But that's a win for professional wrestling. And
exactly.
then with the news of WWE selling over 90,000 tickets for WrestleMania in Philadelphia, That's a win for WWE, but that's a win for professional wrestling.
And the worst part about that is all anybody can talk about is, well, All Out beat WWE's Wembley, and then well, WrestleMania sold 10,000 more tickets than Wembley, and it's like, why can't you just sit back and realize that between the two, that's almost 200,000 tickets sold, and
Facts.
like wrestling's booming right now. It might not be mainstream booming, but between the fans that love it,
Right.
it's booming. And
Right.
you've got to give credit. I know people hate giving credit to WWE, and that's fine, whatever. They're on Sports Center. They're on ESPN, they're on First Take, they're on all of these things. Roman Reigns was before SummerSlam was just chilling in ESPN.
That's a
Like
fact.
he's on their programming. That's bringing eyes to the program, especially when you've got him and Heyman together and they're cutting promos on Stephen A. Like people hate Stephen A. Oh, well, if this guy hates Stephen A, I might like him. Let's see what this SummerSlam's all about.
That's a fact.
It gets mainstream eyes. Before she left, Sasha was in The Mandalorian. Hey, who's
Yep.
this girl? Oh, cool. I like her. Let's get eyes on it. Punk is in Heels. Hey, who's this guy? Oh, he's in AEW? Never heard of that. Let's check him out.
Yeah. That's a fact. That's
But
a
no,
fact.
all we can talk about is WWE versus AEW.
Silly, man. It's
It's
beyond silly.
asinine.
Like my thing is just be consistent. Just be
Exactly.
consistent. Like if look, you can love AEW, and I know a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people who love AEW, but if something is goofy on AEW, you should be able to have the wherewithal to say, "Hey, that shit was kind of goofy,"
Like the Texas
or and
Chainsaw
vice
Massacre.
versa. If you're watching WWE, I mean, if you loved WWE,
Yep.
if you watch Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live, you go to all the shows, you spend money with them. But if they do something goofy, you should be able to be mature enough to say, "Hey, that that shit was kind of goofy," or that shit suck. You should be able to do that.
It's funny you bring that up because I fell asleep last night before my On This Day on Facebook.
Hmm.
And so I looked at it when I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, cool. I absolutely crapped on SummerSlam in 2021. Or it was the Cena AJ. That wasn't 2021. That was like 2016, 2017. When Balor
Hmm.
won the title and got hurt, I was
Okay.
absolutely trashing that SummerSlam. And
Hmm.
I'm not a WWE loyalist, but I prefer WWE to
Right.
All Elite.
Right.
Um, and I'm sitting here bashing the product. That's just like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They had it was garbage. It was hot garbage.
Yes.
But the same people that loved it were the ones crapping on the zombie match
Oh
at
yeah.
the WWE had that one time
Right.
where Miz got
Right. With
eaten by
Miz.
zombies. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, no, they're both trash. Call it like it is.
Right. Right.
If it's a good match, regardless of what promotion it is, it's a great match. Love it. If it's trash, it's trash. Just
Right.
because it's in another company doesn't make it less trash.
You brought up a good note that I do want to quickly touch on before we move on. You brought up Paul Heyman and Roman being on First Take, and I'll put part of the clip there right now.
What is it like to be you?
I'm the GOAT. I'm the greatest of all time. Yeah, undisputed.
Undisputed? I mean, there was Bobby the Brain Heenan back in the
Screw him. He's dead.
Who is the GOAT manager or valet?
Whew,
Who's the
okay, I
GOAT?
was like, hold up. um, Paul Heyman.
So you think Heyman is the GOAT?
I love Heenan. Um, I, but if you look at their track records,
Mm-hmm.
how many world champions did Heenan, manage?
Mm.
None. Not in WWE. Paul Heyman has had a 3-year title run with Roman Reigns. And there was some flip flops in between there, but storyline
Right.
purposes, we're building stuff.
Right.
Even before that, Brock Lesnar. Before
Yeah.
that, CM Punk. Before that, Big Show. Everybody in WWE
That's
that he's
true.
touched has won a world title.
I feel that.
It's got to be Heyman, man.
Man, that's hard, man. Man, I'm still kind of like Heyman is the GOAT for me. I think he's still the GOAT. I mean, Heyman did have flair as a world champion.
Heenan?
Heenan.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, yeah. For his 15 minutes in WWE in '92, that's
This
fair.
True. I would also throw in Cornette. Cornette has to be in the conversation.
Ooh.
He's another love him or hate him guy. He's another love him or hate him guy in professional wrestling.
I can hear the internet going wild right now.
I gotta be honest. Jim Cornette does something. He still does something to wrestling fans in a whole different lane now. I think that really speaks to his greatness.
Just as long as you're not calling him twinkle toes or pockets.
Man, it's something about a Jim Cornette promo. Like,
I dig corny.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
For sure.
I think those are my top three.
Yeah, for sure.
Completely honest.
Sure. I think if you move them in any order, that's like, okay, you can't really argue with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Goats and all of that are subjective, unless, especially in a scripted sport. Now, you can have your arguments that Flair's the GOAT, Michaels is the GOAT, Brett's the GOAT, Austin's the GOAT, Hogan's the GOAT. It just depends on what your criteria is. Now, in football and stuff, you know who the GOATs are. Tom Brady's the best quarterback to ever step foot on a football field. Insert running back here. You can look at stats and it's irrefutable. Whereas if you just kind of go, Flair was a 16-time world champion. Great. He lost it 17 times.
Fair.
It's just all subjective. And my number one list changes a lot. Like my GOAT list. It hasn't changed in the last couple years because of Chris Jericho, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. He used to be my absolute GOAT, and I don't even think he's on my top 5 anymore.
Yeah, that was nice. You actually did a great job talking about All Elite Eric without fully trashing them. So I will tell you,
I want him to succeed. I want him to succeed so bad.
Yeah,
but they let me down all the time for no reason.
Man, you're speaking to my heart, man, because I can't watch it.
I can't either.
I cannot consistently watch it. It's just as simple as that.
I'll cut it on and it will bore me to tears.
I mean, my logic is, and it's all subjective because every fan is different. Yep. We all love whatever. And like what you like. I'm not here to say that I'm the expert on professional wrestling. Same for yourself.
Yep.
If you like what you like, cool. All that I'm saying is, for me and what I've seen and what I've enjoyed is a well-balanced product. And that includes great wrestling, great character work, storytelling, emotion and drama, and maybe a little comedy if you want to really go there. But all of that combined is a beautiful product, something that motivates me to watch every week. And right now, after 4 or 5 years, All Elite is not doing that. And for that reason, I'm not consistently watching.
Yep.
I'll
seek out what's good, what other people tell me is good, other people whose opinions I trust.
Fair.
But it seems like they're just scared to run storylines outside of the main one. Like outside of MJF, Adam Cole, I can't even tell you what's been going on.
Mm. That's fair, man. That's fair. All right, let's move on from wrestling talk, bro. We have a question from last week's guest, Eric,
Okay.
for you. Listeners, if you haven't checked out the episode, that's with Sims, a returning guest. We talked about Secret Invasion. We talked about a couple movies or whatnot, and also NFL. So, great episode. Check it out. Eric, your question from Sims is the following. You're currently in the zombie apocalypse. What is your weapon of choice?
Real weapon, fake weapon.
That's the question. You go with it.
Ooh. Let me get Thanos' gauntlet.
Oh shit.
Done. I'm done.
But what if you knock out that half of humanity and that half are the humans that aren't affected? So now it's just you and zombies.
I've still got the Power Stone. I've still got the Time Stone. It's cool. It's cool. They'll leave me alone.
True. That's a bit of a, yeah.
I feel like that's a cheating answer.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Give me Darth Maul's lightsaber. Or
Nice.
Ahsoka Tano's lightsabers.
Nice. Okay. I know I'm gonna love that series, by the way. So
Ahsoka, yeah.
Yes, can't wait.
Secret Invasion was really good too, by the way.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah, a lot of people didn't. I thought it was really good.
We were mixed on it. So when you get a chance, check it out. The conversation, it was a good neutral conversation about that series. So okay, so what's your question for next week's guest?
Oof. I've been thinking about that. I'm still trying to think. Honestly, I'm so bad at thinking of questions for people. If you were stranded on the desert island,
okay,
and you can't bring any of the normal stuff like food, a boat, a cell phone, what would you bring to entertain yourself? There's no way that you can get off this island.
So you're stuck there.
You're
for
stuck
the remainder.
Forever. What
and
would
it's
you
just
bring?
You.
Yep. 3 things you can bring.
3. Okay. Yep. Fair. Okay.
I know that's
like
kind
that.
of like a lame every time, but
that's a good question because you can go a number of ways with that, especially with 3 items. So, okay, cool. I'm already expecting a pretty interesting answer from next week's guest on that.
I bring my laptop so I could complain on message boards.
No, I try to spread out us wrestling fans.
Oh, so, no. I'm just being a douche.
I still have a demographic. I look at the numbers or analytics, and I still have a pretty solid women following. So
we need more women in professional wrestling fandom. Like I don't know what it would take, and I don't know why, but
we do such a bad job of keeping them.
I agree.
That's the thing, man.
I agree.
Because there's so much good women, is so many great women performers now compared to any other decade or era in professional wrestling. But we as fans, we do such a horrible job about making them feel heard and all of that stuff. Like,
it's disappointing.
Yeah, man. My wife will watch wrestling ever so often.
Yeah.
And she hates wrestling. She hates wrestling fans. So
I'm right there with her.
It's understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's understandable. Another thing that we do, last thing that we do, man, we add 2 songs to the Life and Times playlist. Listeners, check us out on Spotify, the Life and Times playlist. It's a list of great songs, moods, vibes, all curated from the host, Adrian, and our weekly guests. So, Eric, what are your 2 songs?
Man, your listeners are about to hate me.
Man, it's the playlist has everything. So, add it.
Since I've been to the Eras tour, in April. All I've been listening to is Taylor Swift.
Okay.
So
This will
we
be
are
the first Taylor Swift submission.
first two Taylor Swift submissions.
Oh, okay.
With the edition last week of 1989 Taylor's version that's coming out October 27th for your listeners.
Nice. Nice.
You can pre-order on the website taylorswift.com. We're going to give my favorite Taylor Swift song of all time,
Okay.
Out of the Woods. It's from the
Okay.
1989 album. Has a lot of meaning to me. It's going to actually probably be my first tattoo quote.
Okay.
And we are going to go back in time to Speak Now Taylor's version, and I'm going to give you guys Haunted.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna have to check those out because my little sister loves Taylor Swift. She loves music, but she loves Taylor Swift. She went to the concert.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard songs. You can't escape Taylor Swift if you listen to
No,
music. So, but
she's
I
the
haven't
CM Punk
really.
of the music industry.
You
She's so divisive.
really
She's so
okay?
divisive. You either love her or hate her. There's no in between.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. All right. Well, my two songs I have. My first song is from Noname. Namesake is the name of the song. Now, I will tell everyone. I will tell everyone I love that project. I know there's currently some controversy with one of the songs, with one of the verses from J Electronica, but I'm gonna tell y'all honestly, I would say the project is worth a listen. She's getting some. She's one of the most talented lyricists. It's women, men, whatever. She's one of the most talented lyricists currently, and in this song especially, I just love what she's talking about. And she's not only calling out capitalism overall, but she's
Hey.
calling out artists, like she's calling out Beyonce, she's calling out Jay-Z and the NFL, she's calling out Kendrick. But
Oh, wow.
also, yeah, but also she's holding herself accountable, which is really what sold me on it, which was in the same breath that she's calling those guys out, she's calling herself out, saying, like, yo, Coachella's on BS, but I found myself locked in with them. So here I am talking about these guys, but I'm a part of the same machine. So I just love that kind of transparency and that kind of
Yeah.
self accountability. So check it out. That's Noname, and the song is Namesake. The second song, let's see. I'm gonna give y'all a good one. Let's see.
I
Let's
just
see.
popped
Let's
that
see.
on my playlist, so I'm excited
Yeah,
to
man.
listen to it.
Check it out because it's definitely one of my favorites. Definitely one of my favorites. Next song, I'm gonna pick another Black Odyssey song because we're gonna be in Chicago next week for a concert to go see those guys, and the song is gonna be Miss Sweet Tea. Terrific vibe. Black Odyssey is one of my favorites. I just love the mood that they set with their music, and I can't wait to see them live and see see the vibes. That's when you see the music and all of that good stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to our Chicago trip. Looking forward to hanging out up there and enjoying a great show. So those are the two songs that I'm adding. Those were two songs that Eric's adding. So Life and Times playlist. Look it up. All right, Eric, we've reached the end of the podcast. How do you feel?
Feel good. This was fun.
Good, 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 good. Well, listeners, once again, we appreciate you listening. If you haven't already, look us up at Suplex Dinner Club. It is home of two podcast projects that I work on. That's going to be on Mondays. We talk college football, dogs versus all y'all, where we don't just talk about the Georgia Bulldogs. We talk about all things college football, hence all y'all. We just released our roundtable discussion. Awesome discussion with some predictions. So y'all hold me accountable if I was right or if I was wrong. Call me out, because one thing I love for sure is college football. And yeah, and on Wednesdays, y'all know the vibes, Life and Times podcast, which is short for the Life and Times of a Restaurant Lifer podcast, where it's cool conversations with some interesting people that I have met in the hospitality industry, like my friend Eric right there. So Eric, let the people know, where can they find you again once more?
At EJ423X on Twitter /X/ whatever it's called in the next week. Yeah, from there we can have some great conversations.
Word. All right, well, listeners, y'all take care of each other. Be safe out there. CM Punk is awesome, so deal with it. Peace.
Old and I'm fucking tired, and I work with fucking children.